Let's do something fun today.
Alright then, here's a fun little idea. How about a Christmas tree competition? Whoever makes the most beautiful and original Christmas tree wins.
Alright, you're on. I'm gonna be taking dibs on the pine tree.
Alright then, you can take dibs on whatever tree you want. But I have a very interesting idea that I think that's gonna win. So, in order for us to win this competition, we must make our tree original and beautiful. I have done some digging around and have found that the deciduous tree allows me to be completely original and maintain their beautiful form. What is a deciduous tree, you ask? Well, I guess it's time for us to go to the science terminology lab. Alright, now since we're here in the science terminology lab, let's explain what the deciduous trees are and what its different counterparts are. The deciduous trees are one out of two tree types of this world, the other being conifers. It is generally accepted that deciduous trees definition stands as a tree with broad leaves and are not evergreen, meaning that their leaves would fall in winter. On the other hand, conifers are generally accepted as spiky trees which are evergreen, meaning their leaves wouldn't fall in the winter. However, this is not the complete answer. Let's have a look at Panda's favorite food, the bamboo tree. We can see from this image that bamboo trees aren't as spiky as pine trees. That's because not being spiky doesn't mean that you're completely excluded from being a conifer. The bamboo leaves are spiky in the sense that they are not as broad as the leaves of the deciduous trees, but they're not as spiky as the pine tree. This still allows them to be called conifers. Let's look at this other tree, for example, the juniper tree. Would you believe me now that if I were to call this tree a conifer as well? Let's take a closer look at its leaves. As you can see, it's scaly, like a lizard's. That's because scaly leaves are also included in the conifer definition. Alright, you might think that these are the only exceptions to this rule. Well, not quite. How about I show you this picture? Seems weird, right? This can't be a conifer, or can it? The picture I'm showing you right now is winter, but if it's a conifer, its leaves should be intact, right? Wrong. In fact, this tree is called the bald cypress, and it is a conifer. Now, it gets its name bald cypress because it is bald during winter. Wow, scientists are bad at names. Knowing now that the bald cypress is considered a conifer, we can't just let that old definition slide by. We need to make a new one. A deciduous tree is a flowering tree, meaning that it pollinates and reproduces by flowers. The deciduous tree is also never evergreen. The conifers are trees that reproduce via cones. Its leaves are usually spiky or scale-like, such as in the case of the juniper tree, the bamboo tree, and the pine tree. Well, let's play a small little game. I'm going to be showing you 4 different tree pictures, and you're going to decide based on the information that you have learned whether they are deciduous or conifers. Welcome to Is It Deciduous or Evergreen? Alright, this is the first one. Can you guess what it is? Well, if you can't, I'm gonna give you a few hints. Alright, the hint is, I want you to pay attention to the flowers of this tree. Do you have your answers yet? Well, it is a deciduous tree. How do you know? Well, from the image you can see flowers, meaning that this is a deciduous tree by the definition we were basing on in the previous section. Alright, next one. This one should be fairly easy, so I won't give you any hints here. Are you ready yet? Well, this right here is a conifer. In fact, it's a spruce tree. The way you know that it's a conifer is by looking at its leaves. As you can very clearly see from the image, it's spiky, meaning that it's clearly a conifer. Alright, and here's the next one. Can you know what it is? This one is a bit tricky, but I'm pretty sure you can guess it. Ready? Well, this right here is the Scotch pine. And as you already know, pine trees are usually conifers. This one is very simple in that you can clearly see that there is a cone in the image, meaning that it is a conifer. Alright, last one. This one should be fairly simple if you have paid attention in the video. Alright, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Well, it is in fact a conifer. In fact, it is the exact bald cypress that you saw earlier in the video. So that's why I was saying that it was quite easy if you have paid attention to the video. Speaking of which, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also like, comment, and share on this video as well. But the question still remains. How could we make a deciduous tree, a non-evergreen tree, make its leaves stay in the winter? Well, The solution is actually fairly simple if you start to look at how the deciduous trees lose its leaves in the first place. You see, the deciduous trees are a type of trees known as temperate or seasonal trees. These kinds of trees are special in that they're able to sense what temperature they're in right now. Based on the information that they gathered from the temperature, they could start thinking about when to shed their leaves. They shed their leaves when it's cold and not shed their leaves when it's hot. Using just this one small little information, we can start to exploit these trees. So in order for us to keep the deciduous trees leaves, we have to keep it in a very warm environment. Well then, let's try this hypothesis with our sample, the apple tree. Let's keep this guy in a pot inside and let's see what happens, and oh my god, that is disgusting. Kinda reminds me of my Minecraft worlds when I was a child. Dark times those days, dark times. So why does it look ugly? Well, the answer lies in the pot. Quite literally, in fact. A tree's size is proportional to a tree's root size, meaning that the bigger the tree, the bigger the roots. However, the pot is very small, and in fact, the tree's roots cannot grow very large inside it. Meaning that instead of looking like this majestic apple tree, we get something puny like this one. So how do we fix this? Well, the answer is we have to find a tree that looks beautiful when it's small. Well, luckily for us, we don't have to dig too deep for the answer. Well, farmers and all kinds of different people have been nurturing and growing and picking selective trees to decorate houses with. And these trees are called bonsai trees. It is when you're artificially growing a tree inside a small pot or container using various techniques. This means that instead of us looking through the countless millions deciduous trees out there that exist in this world, we can just selectively pick out deciduous bonsai trees. In fact, I've already found a perfect deciduous tree. It is the Chinese elm. As you can see, this tree looks beautiful even though it's small. And furthermore, we could even decorate it to make it look even more beautiful. Perfect for our competition. In fact, this is not the only bonsai tree which is deciduous. There are actually quite a lot. The reason why I didn't choose these other bonsai trees is because I like the Chinese elm more in terms of appearance. Of course, you could actually just replace the Chinese elm with any of these trees and it will be fine. Another cool thing you could do with these trees is that if you want bigger trees, even ones as 2 meters high, you could just get bigger pots and then these trees would grow 2 meters high. Alright then, now that we have chosen our tree, I'm just going to go and decorate it and I'll meet you over there in the competition. See you soon! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our little small tree competition for Christmas. Who can make the most original and beautiful Christmas tree? To our right, we have this beautiful young girl and her beautiful Christmas pine tree. So, young girl, have you found a little bit about your tree?
Look at my tree. It's so beautiful, right? It has a star, it has ornaments, it has many fairy lights. Like, I don't know what's better than this.
Well, that's fantastic. Let's look at over to our next contestant right here to our left. So, young man, what do you have for us here today? Well, host, as you can see, this tree is a deciduous bonsai tree. In fact, it's the Chinese elm. It is supposed to have lost its leaves by now, but I have made it not lose its leaves. Well, isn't that something? A deciduous Christmas tree. My lord, I think you have revolutionized something new. Well, I think I have seen enough, and I declare this year's winner of this small little insignificant Christmas tree contest to be Brian!
Wait, this must be a mistake. Mine is much beautiful than his. Look at mine, it's so cute and it's so pretty, and his is so ugly.
Well, everyone, I guess this is another win to science. Hey, since you made it to the end of the video, why don't you check out this other video right here? I promise you it's really good as well. Just click on it, it's really simple, just click on it. And also, if while you're there, click on the subscribe button.
And also, hit the like button and the notification bell as well. Thank you for watching.
Bye.